What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be talking about where the updated auction house is at and some guys that I'm specifically looking to target today with one guy especially in mind. Now, as we do dive into this, we do see a couple of things that I do want to talk about. Obviously, Trey Mcbride at the tight end position. Number one is an absolute beast, and number two, I think he's going to be pretty rare, but that's just something that is kind of on my radar. But Jack Velling, again, still can't go under 77,000 coins. So as far as like the market minimums, they didn't decrease today, which I feel like sometimes they do. I guess sometimes rarely they do. But let's take a look at the new Heisman Moments cards that I personally think would be a great pickup today. For your specific squad. Now let's start on the defensive side of the ball because that's who I think, my favorite player that you guys could pick up today. Anton Kaysen is, in my opinion, if you play any sort of man coverage, the best man cover corner in the entire game. You're looking at a 93 overall corner with 93 speed, 94 acceleration, 93 man coverage at 6'1" with 85 change of direction. This is a card that if you can get for a specific price, I'd recommend doing it. I love what Kaysen does provide on the field. Now, I think his price can go all the way down to 77,000 coins. And, cards did kind of just get released today, so I wouldn't be in any rush to pick the card up. But he is one of the first guys that when I'm looking at the best cards for their whatever prices is definitely a must pick up. Darren McFadden also is at his minimum. That card can't get cheaper. Jonathan Ogden at the left tackle position is an absolute beast of a card as well. And the reason you guys are gonna see a lot of these cards crash in like such a big time way is pretty simple. Like it's pretty simple to understand. Well, it has everything to do with the fact that guess what? We saw two new LTDs today in Johnny Manziel and Devonte Adams. Those two cards by themselves are going to bring the auction house down in a pretty big time way. So again, I'll open, my basic opportunity pack. I'll open up, the other packs that I can indeed get. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what I'm seeing between things, right? If you're going to give people two legends and Devonte or two LTDs, and that's what people really care about. As much as people, a lot of people can't even obtain those cards, that's what people that open packs really want. They want those LTDs. And so, those, in my opinion, that's kind of the big problem when I'm looking at things is not even problem, but that's one of the big reasons for the market crashes. People like having those best cards in the game. And guess what? They, know that those cards are still going to be insanely expensive, so they might have to open packs for them. But the other cards are maybe going to see a pretty big decrease. Like I said, I don't play a ton of man coverage, but like having Kaysen for his price might start making me play a bunch of man coverage. As much as I don't want Johnny Manziel to be worse than Cam Newton, he is worse than Cam Newton. All of these cards, in my opinion, are, I don't even mind Devonte Adams if he gets like in the 500s somewhere. But you're going to see a lot of these cards, especially with the Heisman Moments drop, just lose a ton of value. So that's kind of what I'm looking at today. And that's kind of what I'd recommend you guys looking at as well. So see, for you guys, what is a Heisman Moment card that I personally like? It could even be like, it's tough for me to say like Malcolm Jenkins went down a ton in price because he didn't. But it could be a guy like him. It could be a guy like Ogden. Heck, it could even be a guy like Calvin Johnson, who for 420,000 coins, I don't even think is that bad of a price. Now, again, am I buying him for that price? Probably not. I don't know if, other people would, but I think Devonte Adams is slightly better than Calvin Johnson, Megatron. So it's tough for me to spend that on him. But that's something you guys personally can look at. Again, with Hines Allen, Katzenmoyer, with Jenkins, they're at their minimums. Those cards literally on this game cannot get any cheaper. Scooby Wright's okay. A lot of the new cards are okay. Even the tight end that we got today is okay in my opinion. But I don't think any of those cards are game-breaking. McFadden is at his minimum. Quentin Nelson is at his minimum. And I'm going to kind of just start talking about it today because, again, I don't know exactly what's going to happen as far as their prices are concerned. But I do think it's important to note that these cards all lock in for a 96 overall Woodson next week. So these cards and their prices, I don't know for sure if they're going to go, up or down. I don't like speculating on it. But I would say this. if you are one in which you want to lock in this Charles Woodson, I would try to start at least maybe planning on it. Again, maybe it isn't next weekend. I'd have to see exactly, because they just keep adding more and more cards, it seems like, each and every week. But let me see when the season ends, and I can give you an exact date. Okay, 10 days. Yeah, next Sunday would have to be the last drop of this Legend set. So yeah, it's gonna lock in next week. So I would recommend, if you guys are wanting this this Woodson set, to maybe, I don't want to say for sure, but maybe start to pick some of these cards up, because next week these cards are not going to crash a ton, you know, and so that's something to just kind of keep an eye on as well. And realistically, you can pick up all of these cards for, I don't know, 400,000 coins right now, which is not insanely expensive at all, in my opinion. So that's just kind of one thing to think about if you do like having the best card in the game. If you are eventually going to want that Charles Woodson card, to start maybe looking at picking up some of these cards heading into the next week and the next Legends drop as well. So again, I don't know for sure if I'm going to lock it in, so I don't know if I'm going to pick it up for sure. But if you are planning on it, it is something that I would at least encourage you guys to think about doing for your specific squad. So that's kind of my recommendations today, guys. All of these cards are, in my opinion, especially when you're looking at the Heisman moments, are not going to get cheaper than they are right now. Obviously, the Rivals cards are still probably going to be relatively inexpensive. But to me, the one card today that I'm hoping that goes way down in price is going to be the cornerback Kaysen, because if I get him for a good price, I'm going to pick that card up. I think he is really, really, really special at that cornerback position. So that's the card I'm looking at picking up today. Hopefully can get him right around that 100,000 mark. That would be perfect for me and my specific squad. But a lot of these cards and their prices are not bad whatsoever today. It just comes down to, you got to pick up the cards you personally are liking. So even you can look at the 90 to 91 overalls. I haven't really talked about these cards yet. And you're going to have some solid cards in here. I've mentioned Jameis Winston before, but the problem with these cards is most of these cards are not going to get any cheaper. Like even a Hunter Henry, for example. At the 91 overall, I like the card. He is not going to get cheaper than that. You look at Jameis Winston right now, 40,000 coins. It looks like his price really hasn't went down a ton, but I still stick up for Jameis Winston. I still really like Jameis Winston on this game. Quentin Nelson, I really like him. At 30,000 coins. I mean, I can't hate on a lot of these specific cards at whatever they are going for. So that's another thing that you guys can think about, is all these cards are just at their minimums right now. The auction house has still not recovered from the Black Friday event, in which nearly all of these cards saw a major decrease in value, which is kind of crazy. Anton Kaysen is the card I'm looking at picking up today. I think he's one of the best corners in the game. And if I get a card like this, I'm going to feel way less inclined to get a guy like Charles Woodson come next week. So that's kind of where I'm at, what I'm looking for today. Outside of picking him up for my squad, there's just not a whole ton I'm looking at. I don't think Johnny Manziel is that great. Devonte Adams is obviously good, but like I've already got Diggs. If I can get him for a solid price, that's fine. But other than that, I don't necessarily need the card either. So that's going to wrap it up for my video. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. I just be careful right now, you know, obviously overspending. I don't think a lot of people are. But with the Heisman moments drop today, if you want any of these cards, nearly all of them are at their minimum. So that's kind of, and I'm not talking about LTDs, I'm talking about other base cards. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is if you need any of these cards, they're fine. Like they're all at their minimums. They're not going to get cheaper. Today is the day that I would recommend picking them up. So that's going to wrap it up. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.